Hi there, I'm really glad that you find and watch my Samurai Japanglish vlog. Ohayou gozaimasu. With heartwarming comments, you always keep encouraging me to upload more videos. Incidentally, I used to stay in Malaysia for my graduate study from 2015 for 1.5 years. And after I went back to Japan, I had been contributing my essays about my experience in Malaysia to weekly local newspaper for Japanese residents of Malaysia for 1 year. If you're a Japanese speaker, please find the link that I disclosed below for more detail. Yoroshiku desu! I chose Malaysia as the place of my graduate study because I knew that in Malaysia, many Japanese, especially elderly and retired people, began to stay there. So I wanted to see what was happening there. I studied a lot about this issue while in Malaysia. And today, let me give you just a slight part of information regarding unknown truths of Japanese status in Malaysia. So today's subject is entitled Data Tells Expectation, Interview Tells Reality. MM2H Malaysia, let's find out! For starters, please take a look at this. This is a graph that shows the number of Japanese residents in major ASEAN nations. Malaysia is the third largest number of Japanese among them. You might say it's not too large and not too small number, right? その通り! By the way, can you recognize some uniqueness of Malaysia's figures? If you got the point quickly, you are true Japanophilia, aren't you? The most important part of this graph is here. In 1 year period from 2011, only the number of Japanese staying in Malaysia has doubled. Its unique phenomenon appeared in Malaysia. Do you remember what happened during the period? Yes, correct. Fukushima earthquake. Hi. Actually, these Japanese residents living in Southeast Asian nations are not only spontaneous ones. Namely, some of them reside there because of their job, and others live there because of their family reasons, like international marriage. We experienced that mega quake on March 11, 2011, and many Japanese were depressed to live in Japan any longer and sought another country at their own will at that time. As a result of their own decision, which country did most people choose? Yes, Malaysia. そうですよ. Okay, next data says it all. Can you guess what this ranking reveal? These are the ones regarding a popular country that Japanese wish to live the most, surveyed by Long Stay Foundation. In the year 2000, the most popular country for Japanese was Australia, and Malaysia barely ranked top 10. But since MM2H program was launched in 2002, Malaysia has jumped to the top. Since then, you never know what happens. Malaysia went 13 years straight. すごい! Now you can say Malaysia has an established position as the most fascinating country to Japanese. Even during our long-lasting economic downturn called the last 2 decades, Japan still keeps a certain position in terms of MM2H visa application. Probably, you know more about the reason why Japanese people love Malaysia. Okay, let me run through 5 reasons. First of all, developed nation. You can appreciate relatively high standard of living in Malaysia thanks to their well-established infrastructure. Per capita income of Malaysian is pretty much getting closer to that of advanced nations. Number 2, low living cost. To the contrary, the living cost of Malaysia still remains affordable. These bar graphs demonstrate how cost of condominium in Malaysia is more affordable compared to Japan. It was about 1/10 in 2007. マジですか? While we were in Malaysia, I resided in a condo having a swimming pool, training gym, and shopping mall with security guards, and which was never attainable unless you were celebrities in Japan. Number 3. English Proficiency. I must admit, English proficiency of Japanese is very awful level. Even so, English is our only foreign language that every Japanese basically studied at schools. As you know, in Malaysia, English is widely spoken as a second language, a third best English speakers in Asian nations, and which reassures Japanese visitors. Number 4. Stable society. Nobody can be bothered to emigrate to a country which is in the midst of military clash. だよね? This data shows that Malaysia is a relatively peaceful country. Lastly, pro-Japanese nation. Personally, this was the most helpful factor through my experience in Malaysia. Whenever we encountered troubles, many Malaysians trusted us and helped us just because we are Japanese. We can't thank them enough in this regard. ありがとうね. These were all the expectations based on data. But what about the reality then? According to my interview with an editor of that weekly newspaper for Japanese residents in Malaysia, surprisingly, in Malaysia, around 90% of Japanese MM2H visa holders seem to go back to Japan in 1 year after they stayed in Malaysia. Why Japanese people? I have several causes that I came across through my experience in Malaysia. Let me tell you some of them here. First of all, difference between tour and living. Not like me, some Japanese residents in Malaysia are rich, so they are more likely to find a condo at downtown KL. I heard some cases of their complaints that KL is something like a showcase, meaning that it looks nicely in tour but inconvenient in your daily use. Historical monuments, museums, and nice view are not always essential items in your daily life. As their daily life goes, they are more likely to miss Japanese meal and Japanese lifestyles. Number 2. Lack of English proficiency. In Malaysia, I saw many cases of Japanese students who lived their life within Japanese community only in spite of their stay in Malaysia. It's not wrong at all, but generally, Japanese community has strong peer pressure and tend to build vertically structured society. Regrettably, I have seen some conflicts within that community. Such a stressful life is far from rosy retirement. 残念. Number 3. Not laid-back life as expected. Other data tells us another aspect of Malaysia. According to information provided by Embassy of Japan in Malaysia, murder happens twice more in Malaysia than in Japan. As far as robbery, it occurs 24 times more frequently than in Japan. The data of fatal traffic accidents tells us that Malaysian road is 5 times more dangerous. I believe that any words are not good enough to describe how attractive Malaysia is, but this data have a negative impact on Japanese residents as well. Finally, adaptability as permanent homes. Some Japanese residents in Malaysia are retired persons. They are mostly healthy enough to enjoy playing golf there every day, but one day they face the reality. What if one of the spouses gets ill or injured and require long-term care because of their age. Japan has long-term care system other than medical insurance, but it is not covered there in Malaysia. これまでか. The ratio of students returning to Japan, namely 19% in 1 year later, is just from a comment by that editor. So, it is not based on any document I've read through. The ratio might not be accurate, but here the point is that it shows a similarity to the fact that I encountered through my fieldwork in Malaysia. I wish both the Malaysian and the Japanese government to collaborate for even better MM2H program reform. For your information, one major internet provider, Google, conducted a survey regarding which domestic prefecture Japanese wish to emigrate the most. As a result of the survey, my homeland Hokkaido ranked second, subsequent to Okinawa Prefecture. Now Hokkaido is the main competitor of Malaysia, right? By the way, you wanna know what about me? Of course, I really wish to stay in Malaysia again one day. Wish me luck. 頑張ります. Japan Ballet.